Hello, and here we are back at Perfectly Paranormal for another week, episode 139. My name's Annaschmidt, and I'm here every week, to share with you true paranormal encounters and information about devils, demons, and dark energy beings that no one else talks about. They truly don't. And today you're going to learn how to safely approach the topic of dark entities with kids, especially if you've got those psychically open kids that see wafting shapes and dark shadows in their homes, in their bedrooms, in their wardrobes. I was one of those as a child. Because as we know, many, and probably most kids are very, very aware of the paranormal world around us. It is just part of who we are. We are integrally connected to it. We as adults have just pushed it to the background. Well, most of us, not me, but most other people. People push it to the background when they've got families and work and, socialising and all the other stuff in life. They don't want to work with their psychic selves. And that's okay. I'm not judging, never judge people. But kids are born with this. Kids from birth to about the ages of 6 to 8 years old are very, very psychic. I've had conversations with children when I worked as a teacher assistant. Some of the things they told me were amazing. And I never commented. It wasn't part of my job, but I gave them a safe place to share. No judgment, no comments. And they were happy being able to share with an adult. Now, schools, family life and routines often push psychic skills into the background for kids. When they get into school, they're regimented. They have the routines and then they've got the sports and they come home and they're playing with their friends and they have tea and a bath and go to bed and it all starts again. A lot of kids don't have time for the psychic self. A lot of kids are very open psychically and have parents who have no idea what to do with them. I've worked with a lot of parents and helped them understand. Their kids have been to the doctor and they've been to the mental health professionals and they all get the ticks of approval. Your kids are absolutely normal. What are you worrying about? And then they're left stuck in this sort of barren place of, I don't know what to do. And then they find someone like me that says the paranormal's normal. It's a normal part of life. And they go, oh, thank goodness, I don't understand it. Can you talk to my kids? Now, I didn't talk to the kids in this particular episode today because they're too young. They don't know me. I'm just some stranger on the phone. It doesn't have relevance. But I can share information with the parents to help, especially one dad who approached me. I'd done lots of work for this family. I've done house clearings and personal clearings. Jeff is a lovely man, and whenever he's got an issue with the paranormal, he gets on the phone or he sends me an email, and that is absolutely okay. Now, Jeff approached me about how to handle a spooky situation with his 3-year-old son, who is very, very psychic, sees everything. This little boy and his sister have appeared in a few of my episodes because they've had so many experiences that I knew other parents and families might relate to. Now, this little boy was seeing what he called a bat, which I can imagine is a black, floating, wafting, flapping wings type shape moving around the house. Now, if you think about that in a child's point of view, it could be a dark entity because he told his dad that it's dark, it's black, it's like a bat. So he's trying to find something in his vocabulary, in his understanding that he can relate this entity to for his father. So we just called it the bat. Now this bat was present in the house and in his bedroom and it was scaring him every night, like he wouldn't go to sleep. And it was keeping the whole family up night after night. He wouldn't settle and he wouldn't go to sleep. And poor Jeff, who was at his wit's end, he was like, how do I talk to this child about the paranormal? He said, I just don't know. Because Jeff's one of these dads that he kind of believes now because he has to, but he's still skeptical, which is fine because not everyone's ready to face this stuff. But he really does want to help his family understand how this works. So what I did was I talked to Jeff about the approach. It's all about using age-appropriate language. and about the message coming from a trusted person, whether that's a parent or a caregiver or a teacher or a psychologist or a doctor. Well, then they're not going to talk to you about the paranormal. Just wipe those from your mind. But it's got to be someone that the child can relate to, someone that they trust. So we left this to Jeff, because Jeff's the one that wanted to deal with it. So Jeff and I had already had, like I said earlier, many conversations about the paranormal in their home, around the kids, how to handle this delicate situation with the 3-year-old, and also his 6-year-old sister, because she's very, very psychic as well. Jeff doesn't see these entities, so he's like, what is my son talking about? And it's really hard for people that don't see them, don't feel them. They just think that there's something wrong with their family members when there actually isn't. I mean, he's 3 years old. He's not likely to have mental health issues at that age. But if concerned as the kids get older, please take them to see a counsellor or a psychologist. Because as you know, I always put energy work third on the list. I always put doctor first, mental health practitioner second, and energy work third. Because once you know that your child's mental health is normal and stable, the only other option is the paranormal. It's got to be energy. Now, I didn't find any books online, because you know how kids love books. There are no books online that can help with this issue. I went with what I felt would be age appropriate from my understanding of the paranormal as an energy worker. Because these beings can quite often be surprised that we know they're there. And once discovered, then they'll just go. Now, I know there's nothing in Jeff's house that would energetically attract these beings, because I've done full energetic cleanses of the home and the property before. So I knew the house was energetically clean. And I said to Jeff that the wording is most important. It's about how you explain what is present and what you can do about it. It has to be age-appropriate language. And I said to Jeff, here are some basic approaches that you can use to help explain the bat to little Jimmy, and also his sister, who will most likely be listening. And then, once you've given the explanations, observe the energy of the home and the kids for the next week or so and just see what happens. So 1, you can tell Jimmy that the bat is just looking and it won't hurt you. 2, you could tell little Jimmy that your friend Anna sees the bats too, and that they fly around her house sometimes, just looking and watching, and then they leave. So 3, you could also say to little Jimmy that he can tell the bat to leave and just point to the door or the window in his bedroom and say, go. Or if he's in the lounge room, he can go to the front door and go, go, bat, go. It's when we take our power back that these entities, they're like, I can't be bothered anymore. I'm not going to get anything out of this situation. I'm just going to go. 4, let little Jimmy know that he can tell the bat to go to Anna's house and that she will help it. You can show little Jimmy a picture of my face so that he knows who Anna is, and he can visualise my face and he can send me those entities. And what they'll do is they'll sit around my property boundary, because I've got energetic protection around my boundary, and I check my property boundary sort of once a day, every second day, and then I just move those entities on. So there's 4 really simple things that the dad could do, and he went, is that all? And I went, yes, don't overthink it. So these were suggestions. The dad might find that he naturally intuits, like his intuition comes out with another way to talk to Jimmy. And I went, go with the flow, but just keep it simple, with a simple process that he can use, something he'll understand in age-appropriate language. Now, the bat in their home disappeared after a day or 2, and it hasn't returned. You know, it may have just been a dark entity that followed the kids home from shopping or school or the park. These beings are present everywhere, and they see, sense and feel psychic people's energy, their light, their vibration, whatever vibe they're pumping out, and they're just drawn to it. And it's not necessarily because they want to harm you, but we often interpret it in that way because that's the way we've been trained to approach it. We've been trained to go straight to fear. So Jeff now understands what to do if little Jimmy comes and says to him, the bat is back again. And they can do it together. They can go to the front door and open it and say, Mr. Bat, get out. I had a mum once. This is one of my very, very, very early experiences that I did here in Hobart. It was really interesting. The husband didn't believe in energy or paranormal or anything like that, so I wasn't allowed in the house, which was fine. The mum gave me the address. I found a picture online. I just worked with the house. She was one forthright lady, like seriously. When the kids were all at school and this little one was playing in her room, because this little child was only, I think, again, about 3 or 4, and she was seeing these entities in her home, she got out her pots and pans. She found the biggest frying pan lid and a wooden spoon. This is the mum. And she went around the house taking back her authority, taking back her power. No fear from this lady. And I'd done the energy clearing and she said, I want to do this too. And I said, you go for it. You do whatever makes you feel strong and powerful in your home. And she went around that house. She messaged me later. She was so pumped. She really, really was quite high after she did this. It was just amazing. She said, you know what? I don't think that entity will ever come back to my house again. I gave it a good telling off. And it's simply going to move on to a more vulnerable target. They're not interested in the powerful people. It's a waste of their time. They will go where the easy food source is. Now, you'll find this interesting before we finish up today. Back in episode 56, which is way, way, way ago, a friend of mine, Laura, her son, he was around about 6 years old then, he shared with his mum a rather interesting experience of what he called the dust man. Now, Jamie's mum, she emailed me, and this was part of what she shared. She said, I'm concerned about a dark presence in my home. Jamie has seen it numerous times, and I'm sharing the information with you just as Jamie told me. And I hope this makes sense, because you've got to remember he's 6, so he's going to use age-appropriate language to share his information. Now, he called this dust man he. He said, he follows me around the house day and night. A tall, thin, black figure, which comes mostly at night time, and he loves night, because he thinks I can't see him, but I actually can. Because Jamie's very, very psychic, very, very open. Jamie says he is a dusty person, half dust and half person, and he turns to dust when he disappears. He's all black and his hood has a small bent stick in the middle of his head, bending towards the back of his head. He has baggy black clothes and smooth black shoes. He comes out of nowhere and he never talks. He has a mask over his eyes and mouth, but he knows where he's going because he's magic. He doesn't want people to see his body because he has reddish black skin. And that's as far as I'll share with that, because I don't want to share the whole episode, otherwise it'll make this episode too long. But Helen said that was the first time that she'd heard about this dust man. And Jamie's been psychic his whole life. I see him, he's now, I think, 8 or 9 years old. I see him as being some sort of healer or some sort of energy worker in the future. He's just so open and in tune with the energy world. He wasn't frightened of this entity. See how at the age of 6 he observed. He shared what it looked like. He was able to tell his mum, and he felt very comfortable sharing with his parents, well, his mum mainly, about this entity because he knew that she would understand and listen. His dad is not so open. He's a little bit more sceptical and probably would have shut Jamie down quite quickly, which is not really fair when a kid needs to share something like this. He needs to tell an adult. So the dust man wasn't in the house anymore. It was simply a dark entity. I think it was more than one from my memory. But it presented to him as one energy being because maybe it was trying to get close to him, but he was smart enough not to let it get close. He knew it wasn't a friend, because of his description, I wouldn't think anything like that would be friendly. You know, the reddish, blackish skin. Now, if you want to hear Jamie's full experience back in episode 56, go and check it out because it was so interesting to have a child of that age share that type of experience with his parent. And we moved those entities out of the house. It was more than one. It wasn't just one being. That's how he saw it. But I found more than one. So those beings were moved on. You know, they can't stay. Once you identify them and you work out why they're there, you remove their food source, away they go. Jamie has seen more entities since then. They're not in the house now because their house has lots of good protection around it. But he's just a very psychically open kid. He observes without fear, which is what we need to teach everyone. Don't go into panic, paranoia, anxiety when people talk about the paranormal. So I'm going to leave it on that note today. So I hope you found that interesting, is that if your kids are talking to you about seeing dark entities, listen to them. If you don't know what to say, contact someone like myself and I can give you some suggestions. Or you could use some of the suggestions, you could adapt some of the suggestions that I gave for Jeff and his 3 and 6-year-old children. You know, you've got to keep it age relatable and then the children will understand it. If we listen as parents and let children explain what they're seeing, now if you think it's too far-fetched and it's becoming a real problem or a real addiction or your child is just totally consumed by these paranormal beings, see your doctor, your mental health worker, and then see an energy worker if you find that it's not a medical or a mental health issue. Because these things can overlap. But energy work always comes third on the list. Always. So in episode 140, you're going to reflect, pun intended, on the superstitions and safety of mirrors in the home. Are they portals into the unknown? We're also going to delve into mirror scrying. As I'm always asked about, is mirror scrying safe? Are we creating portals when we do mirror scrying? And I'm going to have my own perspectives and experiences to share as I always do. You know, I can't help myself. I will look forward to seeing you next week. It's really late here right now and my mouth is starting to shut down. So I really think I need to go to bed. But I look forward to spending time with you next week. If you like this spooky content of this episode today, please hit the subscribe button and you will get a notification when every new episode is released to the public. And stay tuned for many more episodes unpacking the strange and unseen aspects of the paranormal world around us. So thank you for joining me today. And don't forget, if you want to share a paranormal experience just with myself, or you would like me to share one of your experiences through my podcast, you can do a voice recording or you can write out your experience and I will read it exactly as you have written. You can email me at spiritualbeing44@gmail.com. And for information on paranormal house clearing, you can visit my website, Spiritual Being. You will find the address in the description box. And I look forward to sharing this spooky space again with you next week. And remember, life is perfectly paranormal.